Hi, I'm Megan, and welcome to the Intermish, the show where it's literally the length of an NHL intermission, where we discuss the NHL, teams, memes, players, rules, and this is currently my favorite alarm sound. I know some of this is probably like old news, but you can thank depression and the audio quality increasing for this video being late. You'll also get another one probably mid-Friday evening. So either way, you're welcome. Like, look, it has like a little it has such a cute little haircut. Like, it's so cute. Anyway, I know some of this news is old, but let's get into it. Like I said, no one wants to go to Chicago or be in Chicago, and this trade kind of proved it. I don't even think they told Taylor Hall where he was going. They just said, hey, bud, we trade, and before they could finish, he was gone. Like, he said, oh, okay. Like, Diva just left. Mikko Rantanen, when given the option to go be reunited with his fellow, I think, Finn? Yeah, he's Finnish. Or go to the pit of hell that is Chicago at this time. He said, nah, I'm gonna meet my friend. And he went to North Carolina. And I mean, I think he'll enjoy singing Wagon Wheel. I think he will. I really will. I think he'll enjoy it. But no one wants to go to Chicago, and that kind of proved it. Apparently, there are two Elias Petterssons in the league, and not just the same guy getting traded over and over again, like I thought. But, well, you know, I'm also the same girl who thought it was pronounced Alex of Chicken for a little bit and not Alex Ovechkin, to which can we just take a moment and look at this photo and realize it just looks wrong. Like, I get the ick. I'm full body, like, icking out right now at this idea of, I mean, it could have happened to a better player. It could have happened to Crosby. It could be Crosby. I'd rather it be Crosby, but, well, we don't always get what we want. But, however, in words of the Stones, if you try sometimes, you just might find you'll get what you need. So McDavid last night, I believe, made his return after his 3-game suspension from his Connor on Connor crime antics, which you will see right here. As you can see, Connor on Connor crime never pays off, as McDavid and Garland got tangled up, and that led to McDavid being a baby-ass loser and taking a two-hand forecheck, or a two-hand, like, I forget the word, but a two-hand, like, full onto, like, the neck. Like, are you kidding me? Like, could you be any stupider? But, yeah, he got 3 games for that, and then somehow Matt Rempe got, like, 2 games also for some reason, even though he wasn't playing or around the area. But, you know, that do be the NHL. That also led to Leon Draisaitl later squabbling up with Connor Garland, and somebody tweeted that about how Garland was hot, and I just want to ask that person, do you have a vision, like, center near you? Do you want a vision test? Because versus BFFR. Igor Shesterkin really said, call an ambulance, but not for me. And it led to this beautiful, beautiful moment.
In the crease. Schneider's involved. Kachuk trying to... Oh! Shesterkin went after Kachuk.
Of just him taking on Frankenstein's monster, a.k.a. Brady Kachuk, which, if you look in this photo here, when are we going to talk about how much like Frankenstein's monster Brady Kachuk actually looks like? Not a lot, but enough. Nikita Kucherov, count your days. You made the dirtiest, literally was an empty net, dude. You could have just let him go. But no, and we still have no fine or no suspension for you whatsoever. And to that I say to you, in your native Russian, Shitat svoidien. Shitat svoidien. Count your days. Toronto had an outdoor practice, which looked honestly like a beautiful day. Zeus got on the ice, apparently, and I don't know whose dog he is, but I would like to go watch that. It looked fun, honestly. More teams who have the atmosphere to be able to do that weather-wise should do it. Also, just want to make this very abundantly clear, Preds fans. If you can dunk on a Little Tikes goal, or no, here, I'll say it this way. If you can dunk on the 4-foot goal they use for children, you can't really dunk. If you beat one of the worst teams in the league, that doesn't make you any shitty. That doesn't make you any less shittier than you already are. I hope this helps. All right, so let's get into this episode with a quick little montage I made. The beautiful game, such grace, such skill. See how they dance. The violence. Wise man once said, if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough, and that wise man was probably Johnny Knoxville. I'm gonna make this abundantly clear. Enforcers have always been in this league, and they will always continue to be in this league, no matter how many times the league tries to say there is no place for you, there is no place for you, or people who I find it typically is like the analytics ladies, and I hate the fact that it's women, but it just comes across as like you don't really know, and I don't like it when I have to be like against like women, but I want to point that out. They have always been here, and they always will be. No one knows, unlike most things in hockey, there is no first recorded enforcer. A lot of people want to say the first standout enforcers ever were Terry O'Reilly. Some say it was Dave Sminko. Some say Marty McSorley. And in Detroit, they'll tell you Bob Probert. But rest in peace. Not forgotten. But they've been in this game for a long time. And let's just get into some little history things about the enforcer. So the enforcer typically is the guy who all things go through him, basically. Whether you're like when you're a star player and you're this big around at like 19 years old, you're new in the league, the last thing you want is to get hit after hit after hit, because eventually that's going to like cause a toll on your small little body, and your frontal cortex, your frontal lobe hasn't developed yet. You're barely like in your 20s, but you're carrying your team on your back trying, and there's like this one guy who just one day will say, hey, I got this. Like, for example, a young Wayne Gretzky had Marty McSorley and Dave Sminko, and he said at one point during his trade, when he sadly went to the LA Kings, I'm not going anywhere without Marty McSorley. Because throughout his career up in Edmonton, McSorley had taken care of Gretzky. Anyone tried anything with him, anyone tried anything with that goalie, they had to answer to him. And I believe David Sminko was a part of that team as well. And, like, Bob Probert took care of the Yzerman, and like later then it was McCarty, and they've always been the guys to take care of their goalie and their teammates, and that's something I think we're kind of missing in the league now. They're typically not on teams as widely as they used to be because, according to some people, they lack the skill, which I want to say that David Pasternak and I both disagree at. Which, I mean, he's kind of right. Tom Wilson has had, like, 142 goals, but his penalty minutes are at, like, 1,400. So, like, it's insane. But there are some guys who really do have, like, impressive goal, like, scoring statistics. For example, hell, in Boston and Philadelphia, both cities had teams where they were literally just made out of guys who would probably pistol whip you on the ice. Like, the Boston Bruins, in one fight during 1979 season, they went into the stands. One guy I think it was Terry O'Reilly, one guy beat somebody with a shoe. Like, you don't mess around with those guys. Both of those teams, both the Flyers and the Bruins, won a cup with their respective, like, enforcer teams. Hell, you would get the Philly flu, so you wouldn't have to play in Philadelphia. Like, you would just fake being sick so you didn't have to play against them. Like, it's insane. However, like most things, they have to kind of get tapered off if there is too much of it. Like violence. I mean, violence has always been the main thing about hockey that most people can really like attest and say that that's the one thing. Like my hairdresser today, yes, I got a haircut. She was like, "Did you know that people can fight in hockey?" I was like, "Bestie, I've been known." And so I had to explain to her that there's a time and place for this. And the guy who does it is typically the enforcer, the guy who says, you're not gonna mess with my guy, you're not gonna touch my goalie, you're not gonna do any of that shit that you've been getting away with. And like I've seen in things like in Sweden, there's like no fighting whatsoever, but there are people on ice getting cross-checked to the neck, who are getting getting thrown into the boards, who are coming back like it's a different animal. And I don't know if it's still the same way there. I don't really pay attention to Swedish hockey. It's not really on the Ocho. That was an ESPN, the Ocho joke. You're welcome. And I think enforcers do make that big of a difference, where if there was one in Sweden, I mean, they wouldn't have the problems they have now. However, we're going to discuss something, though. I've noticed over a time and time again this sort of scenario where there have been major, like, star players who will get hurt, like, and they have no one. I mean, no one has really messed with David Pastrnak for fear of the little rat coming up behind him, because although he is what they call on Wikipedia a pest, which, let me preface this, a pest is a guy who just wants to talk, will never throw down the gloves, but will cause a fight. An enforcer is the guy who has to, like, separate that and is like, okay, I'm not really going to mess with you. But in some cases, they can't. But, you know. Like, I've seen Crosby get hurt, and there's no guy to do anything. I've seen Larkin take a stick to the neck, and nothing happened. I've seen Hughes, all three of them probably at some point are probably like, hell, if we look at this tweeted about Corey Perry, who, if you haven't noticed, by the way, there's been a lot of dad's trips in the NHL lately. I wonder who may have caused that. Corey Perry. Like, if you look, like, to say, like, we need more, like, the league needs to protect more of our star players or whatever, and then put Quinn Hughes into the boards, it's calls coming from inside the house. Like, my God. And, like, I've seen Bedard take some hits to where I was like, is no one gonna do anything for the boy? Like, what? And I hate always, like, comparing, like, hockey media to hockey in real life, but I found the part in Shoresy where, I forget her name at the moment, but she says that, like, it's a self-policing type of game, because refs aren't always going to get the call, and if you've noticed, they pick and choose. Like, there was a late hit on JT Compher when against the Tampa Bay Lightning. They called that guy. They got that guy a fine. He got fined, and he's banned for, like, 2-3 games. But nothing happened with Nikita Kucherov and his trip on Michael Rasmussen. That could have seriously injured the dude. There was no call. And we're very lucky McDavid even got suspended. If he hadn't been so obvious and such a victimizing little bitch about it, I mean, he should have been suspended for more, to be honest, because no matter what Garland did, still going at somebody's neck, dangerous. Hell, Brad Marchand choked Nick Cousins, and it was just like, it was in front of the ref, too, and no one called anything. So if you haven't noticed, there's kind of like an issue, and the need for enforcers to make a comeback, and I think they are. I see some hope in the speed and dynamics, and Datsuki and, like, stick skills are all fine and great. But at the end of the day, where's the grit? Where's the aggression? Where's the physicality? Where is that? Like, you can be all fancy and, like, skate through people, but what are you going to do when who's going to be the guy to, like, beat someone's ass because you got clotheslined and you're laying there and you're like, is anyone going to do anything? No, they're afraid of fines and getting penalized. But I think, really, I see so much hope in, like, the younger generation. Like, with the main two guys that I can really point out are Arbor Jack and Matt Rempe, Rimpe. Like, if you watched what I put up earlier, the clip of Shesterkin going after Kachuk, Rimpe was already on Kachuk because he didn't like how close he got to Shesterkin's goal. He didn't like how close, or the fact that he was even in Igor's goal. Like, he hated it. And so that's a real enforcer. Arbor Ijak, the man that he is, just does stuff. But then again, he protects his team. And I don't know about anybody else, but those are the two main I've seen where I'm just like, those guys. And if you haven't noticed, it's also kind of the 90s and things are making a comeback. And so thus, I believe the Enforcer is going to make a comeback in the next couple of years. And I hope they do. Because while, yes, hockey fights are fun, knowing that your favorite player isn't going to get his ass beat or isn't going to get, like, a broken jaw because, well, people are too scared to touch him because of what they'll have to deal with from the big guy, that's even better in my opinion. But yeah, so I filmed this episode like 3 times, and I hope I did this in one take, and I did it perfectly, and I got a haircut today, and we were productive, and we'll see you guys probably Friday, for that episode that I've yet to plan, but we'll figure it out. Also, we are now on Twitter. Yes, it's Twitter, at the Intermish. And yeah, just really looking forward to big things coming and happening here. So thank you guys. I hope to see you guys Friday, and yeah.